As a general rule, I am pro say whatever you want, air quotes, as an artist. But as a rule, I might also be anti, air quotes, talk about your life as a singer in your songs. It just never seems to come off too well, as a general rule, or maybe because it can generally be perceived as complaining. It's either bragging or bawling about it. We are still spinning the fantasy of life as a pop star, rock star, life of excess and ease. I'm talking about the collective we, the media, the public, the influencers behind the machine of pop and rock who have clung to the vision of Elvis to Madonna to Bieber to Swift as the epitome of this kind of success. But what happens when you are on these tracks and you question what success actually is? What if you question it in lyrical satire and wit within your songs? You run the risk of perception for sure. So you better have pushed past the point of caring about perceptions. Like Winnipeg indie pop artist Begonia, who somehow spins these satirical questions into her newest album, Fantasy Life, keeping it light and satisfying while managing to evade the triggers that commonly make said subjects self-indulgent or short-sighted. And when you can walk through a mini minefield like that as an artist, you've truly made art. Begonia recently released Fantasy Life, her third full-length album, riding a career-long wave of what many aspiring artists would consider success. The first two albums were both Juno and Polaris Music Prize nominated. The golden gooses or geese or gooses of the Canadian music industry. Her trajectory has been steady and full of the common ingredients for greater success. Extensive touring and breaking into global markets, great collaborations, increased radio play, critical acclaim, etc., an adoring fan base. What does she use the satire for then? To stay grounded in reality. There is the tongue planted firmly in the cheek of an album and a song titled Fantasy Life, My Fantasy Life, delivered by an artist also willing to say, here I am, sitting on my couch in Winnipeg, reading the YouTube comments like I don't give a fuck. And as a general rule, that's my kind of pop star. My name is Glen Erickson. This is Almost Famous Enough. Thanks for spending your time with us. This is Begonia. What Ken told you, I know you have, obviously podcasts are a new part of the publicity cycle, I'm sure. But full transparency, so, I never started this thinking or planning that I was going to be part of publicity cycles, even though I used to. Ken used to be my publicist way back when. And he's a dear man, isn't he? Like, he's just wonderful.
He is a dear. He's delightful.
He is. He's like such a joy in this industry just to go to a show with him is maybe one of the best guys to take a show in with, I find.
I love that. I'm not into baseball like he is, but probably to go to a baseball game is incredible with him too, I'm sure.
Yeah, he told me how hard he took that loss. So it's funny. Yeah, so these are I started the podcast with just a goal of like, I've spent my whole career doing a thing and I'm like, how do I get that out? And I'm like, I want to get it out talking to other people. And I love the way conversations kind of draw the best version of truths and things we'd want other people maybe to hear. And anyhow, so that's my premise, but I'm really happy to talk to you, like coming out of obviously just having released a new album and doing all of the work for it. But to start us off, you're in Winnipeg right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you always been Winnipeg? Sometimes I hear you as like, they say like a Manitoba artist, which to everybody most people would only assume Winnipeg, but I don't want to make that assumption.
Oh yeah, there's lots of rural areas here, but I am Winnipeg-born and raised. Yeah, okay. I'm Winnipeg-born and raised. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask, because obviously your performing name is Begonia, all of that, but real name is Alexa Dirks, and I'm very familiar with Dirks being a Mennonite name, and you're in Manitoba, and you talk about the towns, and I'm wondering, did your family, is it a Steinbach thing? Is it what is it?
You know what? No, but I know a lot of Steinbach Mennonites. I know a lot. I worked
Friesens,
at
Thiesens.
Oh, you name it, I know. Or at least the names all, like, I probably know someone with that name, if not the person you're referencing.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, good. I've known some Dirks in my life. They all came across from Manitoba to Alberta, where I was. And I went to college with a whole bunch of people from Steinbach, and they were all Thiesens and Friesens and all that, like I said. So I always feel like if there's a little point of reference, I got to crack that door open.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the classic Mennonite game of it all. When you meet someone, whenever I meet someone with like a Mennonite adjacent name, I'm like, who do you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So there's things that obviously I want to talk to you about the record and what you're feeling about it and sort of where that's going. I also love to just go all the way back and talk through somebody's timeline with them a little bit to find out how they got to where they were and then see what comes out of it, if that's
perfect.
Totally okay.
Totally okay.
But starting where you are now, because you're at home in Winnipeg, you're not even a month into the album being released, but that always feels like a lot longer to you because you started releasing singles probably, I think, in July or June.
Yes, like and started working on it however long ago. So then it's just like...
It's been with you forever. And then now the world, like me, treats you like it's brand new and it's anything but for you. But I was going to ask, the one thing I did notice right off the bat was... like the tour dates don't start until the new year.
Yeah.
Which, you know, and I don't know if that's a product of just kind of the new world of touring and not this like before, right? Like you would always start touring, if not before even the album released, you'd be into the big long tour to be associated so closely and that kind of stuff maybe doesn't have the same impetus as it used to. But I'm just curious how that sort of like came to be and fell out and it's just the way it worked out, or
getting those opening dates with the Bros Landreth. Are you familiar with the Bros?
Oh, very well. Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. You just never know who knows. Yeah. But getting those opening dates just felt like such a perfect kind of kickoff to all of this.
Yeah. Okay.
And then getting some time at home too, and getting also some time for people to listen to the record and actually know the songs. I feel like that's a novelty that I've done it so many different ways. And I've been in bands all my life. And I've done it in so many different ways where it's like, you got to get on tour immediately. And you're already feeling kind of crushed in your brain from the output of just releasing an album. And then you're out there just like vulnerable as ever. And people don't really know the music as much yet. Or they know your old stuff, or they don't. So I feel like we're just experimenting. We're doing it in a different way, and there will be a ton of North American dates and more like abroad dates, like coming up in the new year as well. So we're just kind of taking this time to refine the show for me to be like present online with the record in a way that I haven't really been before.
Well, this is what I'm talking about, right? This is the new thing where your success is going to come so much to what happens online.
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't you? Like why wouldn't you take the time to be present online rather than going out and being a road warrior and doing
and
all
I
that
love
kind
it
of stuff?
all. I mean, I still have such a romantic kind of idea when it comes to being a road warrior, like regardless of the amount of time I've done it. But it's like, we did it. We've done it that specific way a couple times. And now we're just trying it a different way and like seeing how it feels.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And what you said earlier just kind of alluded to the early band experience. You know, like you probably remember this, like we all do so freshly, like the early days when you would kill yourself just to make the album and then put on a CD release show. And that was like 95% of your output. And then someone told you like, you should probably be marketing the record and you would just be flat after that. You'd be like dead, right?
Totally.
But you learn the tricks as you go and you try out all the different iterations. So that's kind of fun. The Brothers Landreth, like I was going to ask, like that to me didn't immediately stylistically like align. So I'm wondering how you, like, what are your thoughts? That, because I'm sure they're incredible boys to hang out with. And you sang with one, or you had them on your, so.
I mean, so so those brothers, I've known them since I was like 16. I started playing music with Joey. Joey is who I kind of learned to harmonize with. We were in our first bar bands together. Like we have a lot of history.
That's sweet.
So there's all this kind of, and forever, like we both kind of then went our separate ways and started our own solo projects and just we're in different bands, being side people for different people. And then now it feels like we're kind of coming back together. And yeah, stylistically, it's not necessarily the most like obvious fit, but I'm opening as a duo. So I'm opening on that tour with just myself and a piano. So I feel like it'll be more kind of like focused on the songwriting pared down, more focused on the voice. And I feel like that does lend itself to what they do.
Sure.
I feel like they're so songwriting focused and they command such quiet attention that I feel like that's kind of how I'll be hopefully like presenting what I'm doing as well. So I feel like it will kind of fit. And it's nice. They live literally blocks away from me. Like
that's unbelievable.
I see their kids. I see we feel like we've developed such a bond that I can't believe this is the first time we've toured together. But I'm very excited to be kind of with them and also be introduced to their crowds. Like they have loyal fans and they have quite the following like overseas. And I feel like I don't. So it's nice
I was going to say,
be there.
This is the UK who are renowned listening audiences, which is pretty amazing. And I think probably far more receptive to a little variety and change. Yeah.
I hope so. And I look forward to attempting to win people over that wouldn't normally listen to my music.
It's kind of fun, right? Like I was saying this to someone the other day. I miss the flirtatiousness of being on stage. And they didn't understand me. They didn't understand what I meant at all. And I'm like, I'm flirting. Technically, I'm flirting all the time.
Totally. There's just this openness of energy and I feel like for me, there's kind of a challenge to that, to go on a festival stage where maybe you're not the biggest name and maybe no one knows you, and I walk out and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work on you and you and you and you.
Do you do that? Do you pick people out in the audience that seem like they're a little engaged and you're like, I can lock on with this person?
Sometimes, yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I first saw you here in Edmonton at the first version of our Winterruption festival.
Nice.
I was standing with one of the official photographers who was absolutely loving the whole presentation on show. And I was one of those people, and I'm sure you've encountered so many of them, right, who didn't know who you were, saw you for the first time. And as I'm sure you've been told a lot of times, you command the stage in a way that makes you stop paying attention to everything else in the room. It was a fantastic performance.
Thank you.
And actually, I almost forgot to do this. I've only done this once before in my podcast, Alexa, but I actually own, I don't know if you can see, I actually own a Begonia shirt. I won a contest. I won a contest during COVID with Breakout West.
Oh, no
and
way.
They said, you can take merch from any of our artists. And I went on like, I want the Begonia shirt, like 100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
that's awesome. That's a classic. I don't even have any of those in my basement anymore.
Those out of print.
Those are out of run. I got a lot of stuff in my basement, but not those.
Oh, I believe it. My very first episode was with Dan Mangan, and I've known Dan a long time. And
I love Dan.
The very first conversation on my very first episode was how he had just got back from Victoria and was doing inventory in his basement to ruin all the glamorization of what it means to be an indie rock star. It's doing your own inventory, right?
I hate it so much.
That's crazy. So let's go back a bit. I want to find out a little more about you and how you got to where you are now, and making, by the way, which is an incredible album. I've been enjoying listening to some of the interviews I've already done and reading comments and I almost never like to read comments, but yours seem so enjoyable to read. So
thank you.
But going back, he said Winnipeg, born and bred, kind of raised. Obviously, you already alluded to how incredible. I've always been envious of the Winnipeg music scene. I think it's been obviously shown a lot of fruits, but just a lot of merit in the fruits for the kind of artists that it's raised and the kind of community. So I'm maybe just even before you started cutting your teeth in music, was this, I'm finding this lately, and I'd love to hear what it is for you. Sometimes the music thing is because my house was music. Everything was music. I had it in me. I was raised musically. There was never barriers to entry where like, that's a silly dream type. So there's this version of like, I'm raised in this. And then there's a version of people who were like, this was my escape. Right. So often I'm curious if you land in one of those, or what was the thing that kind of led you down that path early on?
It was definitely an escape for me. No one in my family is pursuing music or particularly like pointedly musical. Like my dad would listen to a lot of music. My mom would sing in church like sometimes. And like I grew up kind of with going to church and singing hymns and hearing my on my mom's hip, hearing her sing the harmonies in my ears and stuff like that. But no one was musical. So I didn't really have an example of how this would happen. I didn't even know if it was a viable career option. I would just see people on TV. I watched a lot of television, and I did not have screen time limits. I had shows I was not allowed to watch because they were not from the Lord, but I definitely consumed so much of just like watching other artists on like Much Music, or like I remember this one young opera prodigy, Charlotte Church from the UK, who was 11.
Oh yeah.
And we're around the same age. And I remember I'm a little maybe younger than her. I don't know. But I just remember watching her on TV and running to my room and just sobbing, being like, how can that be me? And my mom says when I was 8, I was crying to her saying that I need a manager, and I didn't know what that meant. Like I had no idea what that meant, but I knew that I had this like burning desire in me to do it, but I had no idea how.
Yeah.
So it really was, it just kind of like put one foot in front of the other, would audition for all the musicals at school, heard that there was this band leader that was going around to different churches and he needed a singer. So I put on a little cassette tape, my voice singing to some spiritual song that I thought was good, sent it to him. And that's how I first met Joey, Meg, Ryan, like Joey Landreth, like, and started my first band when I was 15. So everything just kind of felt like I just had such a desire and I didn't really have a distinct path that I knew to follow. So I just was saying yes to anything and everything I could do, singing everywhere I could, being in my room, just listening to music. Like, I feel like I'm not a scholastic person. I didn't really go to school. Well, I didn't go to school for music at all, but I was in school, like in my own school, like listening to artists that inspired me and trying to emulate and understanding what my voice could do. It was almost like I was learning through osmosis and just by doing it so much from a young age. So it definitely was an escape, but I was encouraged. I mean, my parents didn't know either. So they were like, yeah, go to those auditions, but like, you got to get a job or like go to school. But like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily, they weren't discouraging. My dad is a visual artist and my mom was a bank teller. Like, we didn't grow up with a lot of money, but they definitely knew kind of the idea of a different lifestyle. So I think that was modeled for me in a certain way that then inspired me to think that I could do whatever I wanted to do.
Well, yeah. And I think that I always like listening for that, because that, you know, how early do we form a belief system that it's possible or it's not possible? And and it's Winnipeg, but I mean, in the scope of the music scene and where it exists in the world, that's like small town, still coming out of nowhere type idea, and pretty isolated, you know, in a number of ways, as far as Canadian geography goes, as far as a major city. Definitely can make you feel landlocked to opportunity.
I didn't know though. I wasn't aware because I didn't really know what the opportunities were. I tried out for Canadian Idol when I was 15. I was like, maybe this is how you
I
be
just
a
had
singer.
a guy on who did that twice. Ryan
Oh, really?
Langwell, a guy from out here, was.
Okay.
I think he tried out 4 times before he got on.
Okay,
I didn't even know it
once.
had that many seasons.
Exactly.
But
I tried out once and it did not go well for me. And I'm in some ways thinking about it, I'm glad that I had that experience, but I'm glad that I didn't go too far in it too now upon reflection. Because if I would have gotten the career that I thought I wanted when I was 15, it would have been not the one that I want now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point of reflection, that it's so hard to probably tell somebody who's 15. And it's kind of seems to me like what you're saying is like being able to look back and know a lot of shit had to happen to get you where.
Okay, I'm glad you said shit because I didn't know if I was allowed to swear or not. And I say,
oh, fuck yeah, go ahead. Like, come on.
Because I was being very
oh my goodness.
But okay, great.
Was that before I talked about the Mennonite church stuff, even that you thought you had to behave or something?
I just never know. I never know.
CBC. We can.
I never know, and I have such a sailor's mentality that sometimes I stop myself. I have to stop myself first, and then just kind of see how. If the host says,
I mean, it's good to have that self-awareness, I'm sure, but
yeah, no, it's interesting. No, I feel like some people feel like some artists, young artists, know what they want so early and feel so realized. It took me longer. It took me longer to kind of get my stride. That doesn't mean I wasn't trying the whole time. I've written so many songs that now I would look back on and be like, oh no. But I also feel like that's part of the journey of it. And when I started this project after being in bands forever and started this solo project, I was so hesitant to put anything out there because I wanted to feel perfect. I wanted to feel like I was ready. And my manager, who I still have, who we still work together, and I love him, and he's just so supportive. And he was like, well, you just got to start somewhere. And then reflect on like your favorite artists and how you can see their catalogs and you see their growth and where they started. And you're not like, look at that loser. You're like, wow, they were young and they wrote a record that maybe doesn't resonate with them anymore, but that's the journey. Like, yeah. So
yeah,
that really
100%. I mean, I was going to ask you about that. So kind of one of the first big things from the outward appearance that happened for you, and I hope I'm saying the artist, the band name, is it just as it looks, Chickamin?
Chickamin,
how do you say it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you got it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, that is sort of like where, I guess, of the groups that you've played with and stuff that you obviously really register, because it registered nationally. You release your first record that gets Juno nominated, Juno win. Like
I was 21.
Small, 21 years old, very small company to release a record, get nominated in a category even, and also win. Now that, like, you're just talking about like the journey, and some people know what they want early. You had a lot to figure out. I can't help but think that that has a real interesting impact on like your expectations of what you're 21, what my life is going to look like. How easy is this career going to be? Does everybody just like what we do, or do you feel like a fraud? Because sometimes that can be a problem. I'm wondering, how did that play out a bit for you in trying to then now make that whole thing continue to have success? You did get nominated again on your second album. So
and I haven't won, but like, who cares? I'm not bitter about it at all. No, I'm actually not. And I feel like because with that band, I barely knew my head from my ass. Like I barely knew I didn't know what the fuck was going on half the time. Like I was along for the ride. I started touring with that band. I was 18, 19 when I started doing stuff with them. And then we were immediately on tour because they were fulfilling an old band's contract, whatever semantics. But like we were out there right away, and everyone in that band was a little older than me. I felt like I learned so much from them. And by the time I was kind of awake to what was really going on, in terms of like the business itself and how things ran, we were basically not working together. Like we were starting to kind of break up. So it was like, by the time I felt like, okay, you know what? I think I get this whole industry thing. But winning the Juno, while it was so exciting, we weren't even there for it because we were on tour. We did a lot of like soft seater contract kind of gigs where we would be on tour for long periods of time in the US doing like season ticket holder theater kind of gigs where we would kind of be on the bill and people would show up not necessarily knowing who they're going to see, but they would be there. So it was a totally different lifestyle. So we'd go in and we were very like insulated. And then we played one of these shows and during intermission, they're like, oh, you won a Juno, because no one in our camp thought we were going to win. So we didn't go. We didn't try to go. We couldn't afford to go. So it was like, why would we go?
And then we were nominated. They're going to win.
No. Oh my gosh. So then we won. We were like, holy shit, this is crazy. And I'm just eating like this cheese plate, like from the rider, like being like, okay, now what? Now what do we do?
Well, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
That's the question.
Crazy.
Now what? Right?
Yeah.
So, but you just referenced like by the time you said you felt like you got it together, the band was already maybe starting to pull apart. Like that's what was that about a 5 or 7 year?
It was like 8
range.
It was like 8 years.
Had
it
that
was
run.
like 2007 to 2016, 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
14. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't wait very long. I hopped right off that train and I was like 26 and I'm like, I am too afraid to stop for too long because what if I stop like putting stuff out there or going on tour? Like what's going to happen to me? Like I've already felt like I was too old, which is crazy now that I think about it. But there was this part of me that was like, I have to keep going. I have to keep going. I can't stop and grieve this. And that affected me in different ways in the future. But
okay. That's good. I was going to ask you about this because I'm curious always about a transition like that. But for so many reasons for you, one of them, the obvious was it did feel like a pretty big genre transition, like to a degree. So there's always some curiosity about that and whether, and sometimes whether it felt like a full starting over, or sometimes you bring, maybe you've made a lot of connections business-wise, the industry, you have somewhat of a team already, or sometimes you're starting over. But before I even ask those ones, so I'll just pin in those ones, like you just said, I felt like I was too old. And I've got a couple of friends in this business that I've had long talks about that with. One of them was a guest. I don't know if you're familiar with an artist named Adeline, Canadian artist.
Yeah, familiar with,
And so, and she always talked to me at length about how the industry made her feel so old. And it's strictly a gendered conversation because,
of course,
like until guys are my age, they're not made to feel too old for the business. And 29 is like being treated
you're expired
as
meat.
ancient for a female
30,
solo artist.
They take you behind the barn. Yeah, it's crazy.
So that was part of the pressure. That was part of the thing going in. Do you feel like that? I guess I'm curious. I don't know whether you'll be able to answer. Like, were there like specific things that were either said or you experienced from people, or was it more of the osmosis of the industry doesn't accept? And I know it, I can just tell.
Of the osmosis of the industry, I think, and like people would ask my age, and then I would say it because I was like, I'm not going to care about this because this is going to be what stops me if I do. Like I was hammering that into my head. Like as soon as I felt that fear, I had enough people, friends in the industry that believed in me, that really encouraged me, that made me feel like, oh yeah, fuck this then. I can do this. But then I also had this looming sense of like, okay, so what's on the opposite side of that? So I give in and I say, yeah, you're right. I'm too old. So I stop. And then then in 10 years from now, I kept reflecting on like me 10 years later when I'm 36, looking back, being like, are you kidding me? You thought you were old then? Because I just had to like remind myself, like, you think you're old now. Because I always thought I was too old. When I met Joey, when I was 15, I had just started learning acoustic guitar on my own. I met him. He had started playing when he was 4. I was like, oh, I'm too old. I can't do this. And I put my guitar away because I felt shame for being too old. He never made me feel like that ever, 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 ever. But it was this thing of like, oh my gosh, that feeling of like always being a few steps behind that I'm always fighting in this industry. And that I feel like every time I do something, I'm just saying like, fuck you to that feeling. And I feel like that's what drove me, is that I had a very supportive team around me, that no one instilled those beliefs in me that I was working with closely. And anyone that did, I could just be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's the attitude that I took on. And that's not to say that sometimes it would affect me, and it still does when people make it a thing. But I also have come to realize too, I have a lot of control over that feeling, that it's like someone could say I'm too old, and it's like, okay, so should I just stop? I'm not going to. So then do I let that affect me?
Yeah. And I oversimplified this in a conversation the other day, and I'm wondering whether you feel like this resonates with what you're talking about. I feel like it's entirely boiled down to the hyperfixation on the marketing aspect of the music industry.
Yeah, of
course. It has nothing to do with the art, right? It has nothing to do with the art. It's 100% the marketing like machine.
Totally.
Which tends to care more about itself than the music itself.
Totally.
We all know that.
It's tough out there.
So you make this transition to a solo artist, and there's a couple interesting things, like I said, in there for me. Number one is, did you already know the musical direction that you're like, I need to go this way? This is what I want to do?
Not entirely.
You had to flush it out.
Yeah, I had to flush it out. Oh my gosh, there's a giant squirrel looking at me right now in the window. Sorry, I got distracted by the Winnipeg wilderness. Okay, I had to flesh it out a little bit. I had been working kind of on the side with some friends of mine named Matt Schellenberg and Matt Peters from a band called Royal
Canoe. Yeah.
So I'd been working with them since I was also quite young. In tandem, like I had my main band Shikanen, that was like my main project. They were my ride or dies. Like I would always, and then I'd be home and Matt Schellenberg would be like, why don't you come over and we just work on something with you? He was definitely like a huge proponent of me having my voice stand alone. So I'd always been tinkering with him kind of in the background on little things that felt more like bedroom poppy, indie pop kind of stuff, more highly produced, a little less organic in terms of the tones that were being used, but the voice always being like at the center of it, the most organic instrument there is. And so I always found myself drawn to that instead of necessarily a specific genre. It was more like, how can I take my main instrument, the most organic thing, and blend it with these modern kind of synth tones and modern production and make that something that resonated with me. And that was kind of the main. So it wasn't like, we're going to make this kind of song or we're going to make this kind of song. It was like, how can the voice shine? And it's taken us a while to kind of get there together, recorded. Live, I find it so much easier for me to just like let loose and be raw. And then I would get in the studio and I'd be like, it has to be perfect. It has to be perfect. And that would kind of suck some of the soul out of it. And it's taken me a while to understand and recognize that like my favorite albums, my favorite artists are not by definition perfect in any way. So why am I trying to strive for that? Just so that people can say, she's a great singer. It's like, why? Like, that's not, it's more, the feeling of it all means so much more to me. And when people will come up to me and be like, the album is amazing, but you live is crazy. I'm like, okay, so how can what am I missing here? So I'm always thinking about it. And from the beginning, I've been thinking about it in that way. Like, how can I connect? But I've definitely learned that to be a singer and to be perfect is not what I'm trying to do.
Well, that's a great point. Let me ask you this based on what you just said, because I think the most common way I get that direction spun is that people make as perfect a record they can, and then they absolutely freak out and melt in anxiety about trying to recreate it live. And you have people coming up to you and saying the record's really great and all, but you're crazy live. Because you are, and you put a lot into it, and obviously your charisma, I think, in real life just brings things to life that a record that's melted down to have a nice mastered EQ can never do, or
Totally.
the way a room is going to contribute to that experience for a person.
Yes, the
and
energy
they don't even
of
know it and stuff. So for you, having that consideration being a little bit the other way around, is that relatively new? Are you saying, like, at this point in your career, at this place
I've
of a
always
record?
tried to strive for that, but then I've still kind of stood behind the engineer and been like, polish that off. Don't, I don't want to say that. Oh, that sounds rough. But then now this record was one that specifically, the ethos of it that we talked about was like, leave some warts in, leave some messy moments, leave some where I'm just fucking being an idiot, like riffing on the mic, like leave that shit in. That is what makes the show, what gives the show that energy. So we try to do that more. We definitely, like, I still feel like I have further that I can go, but at the time, that's as far as I felt like I wanted to go. And now I listen and I'm like, okay, I know I can push this further. So that'll be for the next one, I guess.
Well, I was going to ask, I was going to say, do you have an idea of what you bring? Like, what would that mean? Like, what do you need to bring
I know
that's in your live show to a record that somebody who's encountering you
it's just even
like
more
more
abandoned. I feel even more abandoned. But I do feel like I've tapped into that more with this record. And that is something that I felt very good about. When we were done recording, I didn't have any kind of regrets or anything that I would want to go back on. But I always want to push myself to be a bit uncomfortable. And I think I'm now far more comfortable with being uncomfortable than I used to be. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say at one point, I mean, I like hearing you say that because a couple of things of my own observation of the whole thing, which is I would normally talk to somebody in their growth in their discography or timeline. We'd probably be talking around the concept of evolution. And I think that's how we often will talk about an artist. But honestly, like that, I just knew. I was even writing last night. And I'm like, that's not the word. That's not the word for her. And I realized it was really amplification, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like and just the way you were describing, and I don't know if that makes sense for you and in your process, is that it was always there. Like, even when I saw you in 2020, you seemed kind of badass on stage and commanding attention, and the confidence was there, and both in just the way you carried yourself, but also the way you sang. And then I hear now, which by the way, side note, I first heard your Harder Than the Sun single on our alt station Sonic here, who does not typically go that far to the fringe of their little box.
I love that.
I was pretty excited. I thought, this is absolutely amazing.
Hell yeah.
So many of your songs in this record have like serious cojones behind them in the way you're delivering them. And
thank you.
And I guess I would say this in the way that I'm like, it's not evolved, it's amplified. It's like it was always there, but now you sound like I was just comfortable enough to be on my Canadian stage, or I was just comfortable enough, you know what I mean? And now you're sounding like, give me any stage in the world.
That's what I want.
I'm going to blow you over. But that's what it sounds like to me.
I love that. I love that.
So when I hear you say that, I feel like I need you to know that I really think it's obvious. I think that it's really obvious. Really
I love that. Thank you.
So you make this transition. You had some direction in music. And by the way, I think it's interesting working with the guys, and they use the moniker Deadman in this effort of theirs. Royal Canoe comes out pretty organic. It's a band. So they're obviously also bringing an energy of like, we want to experiment with this other stuff.
Yeah.
And you're bringing this energy of like, I want to see how my voice can just be over anything.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like, that's a pretty unique dynamic of two purposes hitting each other.
A really beautiful friendship bond and vulnerability with each other over the years. I think making music together, it's such a vulnerable thing when you really just let all the ego go and you just are showing that voice memo that you put into your phone at 3 a.m. when you sound groggy and you're like, do you guys see anything in this? It's like there's such a, and even with them, I would still be like, don't listen. No, that's not right. Like I would still get nervous, but we've developed, I feel such a safety with them at the end of the day. And I think that that's what comes through then. That's what's allowed me to amplify or like evolve or whatever is working with people that I know I respect and they respect me and I have their back, they have my back. And we're all just going towards what feels the most like real at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've already made the joke, by the way, about like, I never win shit, but here's the funny angle, the way I'm seeing it, which is I already made the comment, like the first band puts out this first album, wins, like rare experience for most people to go through. But then you go solo, you're got all of this stuff you said is going on. Like, I just need to do it. That real fear that people will forget about me, or even just your connections probably to people to make stuff happen. You just want to keep that. You want to just keep it going, right? I'm sure. So you release an EP, but then you release a your first full length album, which is the 2019 one, right? Fear.
Yeah.
So your first 2 full length records get like carte blanche nominations in Canadian royalty. You get the Juno noms, you get the Polaris noms, long list and short list. I'm just wondering personally, because I know like humor deflects things sometimes.
But yeah, of course. That's my story of my life.
I'm the same way. I'm just curious how that's felt for you, that experience. Like, what you're putting out is getting critical acclaim in our country, for sure. I don't know that anybody really knows, and I'm always wondering who listens to my podcast, whether they would know like how that actually translates into quote unquote success. Does it actually put gas in the tank?
It's a good quote. My mom always says Safeway doesn't care if you're nominated for a Juno, like just as a form of like empathy, like sympathy with me, like whatever. Yeah. You know what? Okay. My partner and I talk about this a lot. We've been together for about 10 years. So basically since this project started, and we've worked on all the art for this project together, all the visuals, and we're in the same home. We pay the same bills, and we talk about this a lot. We're like, okay, what is success? And that is an ever changing goal for me. I feel like if I'm thinking of where I started, I have defied what I thought I would ever be able to do. Defied what I thought success would be for me in exactly the things that you're listing, in the way that we rent a home here in Winnipeg. And I mean, it's cheaper to be an artist here than it is to be in many places in this country, but we make do. And I am borrowing my parents' car right now, but we put some gas in the tank every once in a while. And it's like, it's enough. It's enough for me. I strive for more. I strive for more in terms of not necessarily, I don't strive for like monetary gain other than just to be able to pay off debts and pay my bills. That's what I want. But I strive to be able to go overseas, play any kind of what that 1,000 cap room that I want to, and people will show up. That would be the dream for me.
Yeah.
And that would be something that would be like in all like the kind of check marks of the barometers of success that I've achieved, so many that I'm so grateful for. That's one that I have yet to achieve, that I want to achieve, is just to feel comfortable and to go on tour and not be like, how many people are going to be in the room tonight? I don't want to have to have those fears. And there is a part of being from Winnipeg and being in the community that I am in, where being an underdog is just a feeling that I'm used to, like being kind of like coming from a city that everyone's like, fuck Winnipeg. Like, but now people are starting to see it a little bit more. But whenever I go anywhere more,
who says fuck Winnipeg?
More especially Ontario, I see you. But like they're all like,
I
oh
got
yeah,
you.
Winnipeg,
Yeah.
you like it there, and people telling me in the industry for years that I have to move to Toronto or
100%.
somewhere more if I want to make it. And I love, like, I have this defiance in me that's just like, well, then I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And fuck you. And I don't know if that's always like good for me, but that's how I usually am.
Yeah, but here you are. So,
and here I am. So I feel like it may be a different road or a longer road, but I'm also like not trying to just do this for a few years. I'm trying to do this for the rest of my life. So
yeah. Yeah, I always remember saying to some people, because I didn't even get started until I was in my 30s. And
amazing.
I remember sitting with Grant Lawrence in Radio 3, and he kept asking me just questions about, why are you like, how do you, you're a dad, like I had a new kid, and they're like, what are you doing this for? And but I always thought, like, if I have to work 3 times as hard to get to play the game with everyone else, I'll work 3 times as hard, because this is all I wanted, right? And and I love what you were saying, and thanks for just being bold enough to just say Ontario, because a lot of people still would be too scared to say it, because it's still like the golden teat that we have to go to on Mother Cow. But my band, by the way,
though.
they
Sorry,
have.
go ahead.
I was going to say, my band actually named our second record, we called it Hontario, because
what's your band?
It was a band called the Wheat Pool back in the 2000s, and so
sweet.
But half of the concept of that joining of words was the constant pull to Ontario we were experiencing, where people are like, are you going to move to Ontario? Are you going to move to Ontario? Like, you're going to go to Toronto? And so that pull is very real. I've talked about it quite a bit on the podcast.
Yeah,
but I appreciate
definitely
you
real.
talking about what success looked like. I'd heard you, and I even wrote it down. You made the statement to Tom on cue of how you grew up being like, I just want a career. And then you got the career, and it's like, I just want success. But then you're like, what actually is success now? Because it can be a lot of things to people. And for some people, it's just like, can I just afford to keep doing this? You know, can I believe that, like, I can take a break and come back and start, and there will still be opportunity for me? Is that success?
That's still a thing that plagues me sometimes, is the whole how to take breaks. How to take breaks in like the online realm. And I find myself, even right now, I feel like I'm kind of in that place right now where it's like, okay, I just put the record out, but I'm feeling kind of seasonally depressed, to be honest, like feeling kind of like, and my goal was to post every day. This is so the minutia of it all, but it just gets to me, man. It's like,
it's true.
My goal was to post every day. And then last week I was so confusingly sad that I just couldn't. I had to take, it's been maybe like a week. And I was looking forward to this podcast because I was like, okay, maybe this will like kind of massage some things out of me, like to just talk about music for a while, just to get some, because it doesn't make sense all the time. Like, I do feel like I am living a life that I never thought I would. And it's almost like every time you get to that next, you like see the see-through glass ceiling or whatever, and you see everyone partying up there, then you get to that floor and you realize that there's like 17 floors, and you're like, what the fuck? I thought I got there. But I also think that is part of it. That's part of the journey. And I have to make friends with that a little more. And it's hard for me. It's hard to like expend all that energy and put all that emotion out there, because my music is so close to me, as that, like almost every artist, it feels so sensitive. And then it's all out, and then everyone's like, what's next? And you're like,
that's the first thing always.
Birthed a fucking like, I can't fucking think straight, but I have to be like, hey guys, you'll never guess what I'm eating for breakfast today. It's just like, oh fuck, like I just can't. So it's difficult. It's been interesting.
Well, I mean, that's the artist life, right? Which is you have to be cognizant of the fact that you're going to put yourself and be seen by people who, a large portion, you hope, they're seeing you for the first time. And then you have to bring that same new energy, the same way as you said, I just birthed this fucking album that took me 2 years to make or whatever. But people consume albums like there's going to be a new one out tomorrow, and there's a new one today, and
100.
you have to show up with the same energy as if you just recorded that sucker yesterday, as if you just felt that heartbreak in that song or that anger like yesterday, and then I have to deliver it every night on the stage. Like, this is the part of that version of artist that I think is so challenging, that people don't always understand, trickles down the layers of the business of it, the lifestyle of it. Like, everyone else, everyone else is in a cycle of 9 to 5, 5 days a week for the most part, you know, in some version. And an artist has no cycle. Then I put a thing out, you know, and then now everyone's asking what's next. And now I don't have anything to do for a while. And then all of a sudden I'm on the road and my life is 16-hour days. And then all of a sudden, immediately it's nothing again. Like, it can drive people a little crazy.
I went on my first bus tour 2 years ago, like full bus tour. And I saw like all the lore around like the road dog being on the bus tour, going crazy, doing a shit ton of drugs and all that shit. I just saw how easy it could be to go absolutely insane on a bus tour. I love touring, and hey, one day if I can afford to do a full bus tour, I'm not going to shake my head at that. Like, I'm going to fucking do it. But it's like, oh my gosh, you just wake up and you're in this different place. You walk out the door. You're like, how do I find a bathroom? And it's like, I could see how it could drive a bitch crazy. All of this being said, though, I don't want to go down this road too of just like saying, oh, it's so hard. Because that's not, I don't feel like a victim to this life. Like, I have chosen this life so actively, and I've been doing it in my entire adult life and half of my teens. Like, it's definitely, the fact that I've been able to do it for this long is incredible if I really think about it, and do it in the way that I've been doing it. And I do feel like it's this slow kind of rise for me. I'm not the kind of artist that has had these big pings and then down. It's been just kind of like chugging up. It's never been like a full downturn. It's just been like a quiet chug. And I feel like I'm constantly just making friends with that. And I'm constantly just kind of, just when I think I understand, it's like being in Winnipeg and the snow falls for the first time and everyone's like, what the fuck? And it's like, you've lived here all your life. You know this happens.
Seriously.
This happens every year.
Change your tires already.
Exactly. And I feel like with this, even just my little bouts of kind of post-release depression or post-tour depression, I can't be surprised. Like, but I'm trying to just make friends with that a little bit more. And I don't have the answer. It's just like I feel so lucky to be able to do this and do this with my partner, and that we're so entrenched in this life. And there is a lot of beauty to it, and the highs are highs and the lows are fucking low. And but I'm not necessarily wishing that I was doing anything else. Yeah. It's confusing as fuck sometimes though.
Yeah, but I love knowing what keeps people going, and you sort of just describe some of those things, because there's so much life apart from what people see. And by the way, I'm guilty of, so I sort of half apologize that I love commiserating, and what we were just doing is commiserating.
Yes,
and then
I love that too.
But I have to be cognizant that I'm putting out a podcast that then you have a perception of like, I don't want to look like I'm complaining.
Literally.
I think that you and I are just commiserating because I know what you're talking about. So
literally,
I have to be a little bit better at being cognizant of
I
drawing
hear you,
those conversations.
I appreciate you understanding though, because it does make it easier to just be frank about it all, because I feel heard. It's not like, but it's not even me kind of counteracting what you're saying. It's me also just like, because I'm in this headspace that I'm in right now, trying to be like, okay, blah, 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 blah. This is hard. Okay. But in conclusion, I am pretty lucky. So let's try to not end like this is for me, like me reinforcing kind of how I'm trying to think.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. So tell me a couple of things about yourself. I want to know then, that I really sort of, in talking about your new record and me saying it feels amplified, which I think is just an amazing, I just haven't gotten that impression in someone's trajectory very often. So it stood out to me. But if I'm going to like drill down on what stands out to me is I think there's two things that probably stand about you to everybody right off the bat, which is your voice and your stage performance, which we've already talked about a little bit, which are like unreal. Like you've obviously both got the natural talent, but you've been doing this long enough. You have to hone your talent to be able to continue to take it next level. So I guess one of my questions is like, how much work have you had to do on those? Or is the vocal work more maintaining? Like there's a lot of work to be able to do this more full-time all the time. Is it that kind of work? And I guess my natural curiosity is which side do you feel like you have to work on more, or which side do you just tend to lean on your kind of your gut and your natural
stage instincts? Performance, it is all, not necessarily all, but mostly gut and natural instincts, and trying not to overthink. And there are certain, like for certain shows, I definitely really enjoy producing and curating and understanding how a set lifts and dips, and in certain moments I know, okay, I will speak there. I don't know exactly what I'm going to say yet, but I know that I will be speaking, be it some sort of hello everyone, or be it a honk honk. Like I have no fucking clue what it will be, but something will happen there. Yeah. And then when you're on like a longer tour, you kind of I would start like throwing things out there and then seeing like, oh, that lands. Okay, I'll probably say that again tomorrow then. Like just see like certain things. To me, it's all about being in the room with people. So it's so hard. I like rehearsing obviously is great and I want to do it and whatever, but like it's hard with the stage, like the banter side and exactly how I'm going to sing things. It's hard to know until I'm on stage in front of people, because there is this power. There is this thing that happens sometimes during shows where like you do things or you say things that you wouldn't normally do when you're in a rehearsal space with the dudes, like just staring at you, being like, whatever. Yeah. Like it all kind of comes together when I'm on stage. There's just that magic fairy dust that doesn't exist anywhere else. So there's a part of me that like, I'm definitely thoughtful about it. And I try to take care of my voice. And when I'm more like on tour and stuff, I have warm-up routines. I have routines to like keep me, my ability up. But like, when it comes to just the alchemy of all of that, it's like certain things just can't happen unless I'm in that room doing it exactly live.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of like, actually the better way to say this and frame it, like you just got like some really big, strong vocals and you belt a lot and you do a lot of things that aren't easy. I was watching a live performance recently, like you did some breath control at the very, very, very end of this live performance song that, you know, that's the part where you're most tired. And it was impressive, obviously, technically. But, you know, you hear like renowned, some people who like, I won't talk to anybody for 5 hours before the performance. Like, is your life still fairly loose and free, or have you had to start to lock some disciplines down?
I've definitely locked some disciplines down. When I first started touring with this project, I was far more loose, fast and loose. When it came to even just going out after shows, not in a alarming sense, but just I wouldn't think about it as much. And then I would get to the end of tours and I wouldn't be able to maintain, and I'd be so confused as to why. And then I would get home and be like, yeah, duh, because you're burning the candle at both ends. Like this is a job. Like, and so now I am a bit more, I gauge how I feel. It's if I'm feeling kind of more strained, I don't go out for dinner with the band. I don't, like, I get to the venue and then I just stay there and I do my warm-ups. I won't usually go out and party after shows unless it's like the end of a tour. I have like maybe a drink or two a night or not. And I don't, the one discipline that I had to put into place, which is sad, is just not going out to the merch table anymore after shows. Because that was something that I would really enjoy doing, to actually like meet people and connect with fans. But it's the talking that is deadly for me.
That's exactly
and
it.
That is when I would find myself at the end of tours, like even more than just like going out. It was the talking in bars, in clubs, talking to people emphatically, sharing these emotions. It's like by the end of it, I wouldn't be able to speak. And that is something I've had to cut out of my tour life. And it's sad because I miss seeing people, but it's also like if I want to perform the show, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, talking in bars is literally like what
the killer.
The way you have to talk in a bar, what that does to your vocal strain is like maybe the worst version of talking.
It took me so long to understand that. And it makes so much fucking sense. As soon as the light went off, I was like, duh. But it took me so long to like make that connection. And then when I did, it changed everything for me on the road. Now I can last a whole tour, no problem. Yeah.
That's pretty great. Mm-hmm. So Fantasy Life is a fucking great record. I would be so surprised if it didn't continue your run of nominations, but we all know how fickle those things are.
You just never know.
You just never know. I'm guessing, though, I have this hunch. I had it before we talked, and now that we've talked for an hour, I have an even greater hunch that you give the least amount of shits about that now in your career.
Would be cool. I'm not going to say I'll fucking go to the gala, man. If you want to invite me to the gala. I had fun.
You would probably be the best, coolest dressed person there for sure. They need you at the gala is really what we're saying. I had a lot
of fun, actually. Like last Juno's I went to in Halifax, I was kind of like, oh, fuck, I don't want to be here. I'm nervous. And then I went there and I had actually so much fun with other artists. Yeah. Connecting with other artists, commiserating with other artists, and being like, because you think you know how other people feel because everyone online obviously wants to put out their best face. So you think, oh, that person is obviously so thrilled about life right now. And then I'm getting my hair done next to this person and we commiserate about the shit. And I'm like, oh, I feel so much better. It was just so many moments like that we didn't win, but I had so much fun. And that is not always something for me at industry events like that. It's not always my thing to be like, I may seem more like a schmoozer than I actually am, but I had so much fun. So like, I'm happy to be at the table. I don't have to win. But if I did, I would be thrilled, but I don't have to have a good time.
Yeah. I guess what I'm wondering is, and you alluded to this already, I should say that, like about, you were talking about getting across and you know, the places you'd like to go and the sizes of rooms you'd love to be able to connect with that would make you sort of feel, because we keep having this, and this is what I find interesting. And it's kind of the nature, by the way, of my podcast of this, just the way I named it, just this concept about like, it's different for everybody. What does it mean to actually arrive? Mm-hmm. That we end up having those narratives in our head that maybe go all the way back to the beginning of when we were listening to so-and-so on Much Music, and about what that looks like and what it means, that still creep in, even though you've been doing the business for so long and you know better, but you've gone through some cycles of this and you've got this new record out and great things are being said. And I'm wondering what you feel like if you and I were to talk in a year, what would you hope to say was the thing that made you feel like, yeah, like this is exactly what I needed this album and this cycle of my life to be?
Oh, I think just like fulfilling tours. I'm very excited for this Brothers Landreth tour. I feel like that will fill my cup in a huge way. Just being exposed to new fans. Like I just want to play in front of more people. Like that's what I want. And I want to be able to create music with more people. Like I just want to I want to be out there more. Like that is something I desire. Like I love my Winnipeg home life and I love that I have this place to come back to, but I'm not retiring. Like I want to be out there. Like I have a lot more to give. And I feel like in a year from now, I would love to say that I'm still like that. The album is not sunsetted. In a year from now, I'm still promoting this album. Like I'm still, I put so much work into this. Like I feel like also things are changing where you can kind of make shit what you want. And I'm not trying to fit into certain parts of the industry that maybe I thought I had to before. It's just not where I'm going to be. So I just want to do things my own way. And I hope that I can just continue to do that. So in a year from now, I would hope to say like, oh my gosh, I played some of my favorite festivals this summer. I had an amazing time with my band and we're tight as ever. And like people are responding well to the record and I played a tiny desk and everything's great.
That would be cool. That would be very cool.
That would be fucking cool. That would be fucking cool.
Well, I don't think anybody's suspecting you of retiring, by the way, at all. I don't see any retirement anywhere near
me either.
Unless you've had enough of this shit. But
no, they'll have to drag me out.
Well, you've been really generous with your time. I want to wrap it up by I want to throw at you some of your comments on this new record, which I love reading. And like I said, like reading your YouTube comments and some of the online comments it's soul sucking. We all know it. And yet I found joy in reading a bunch of yours. So these must be validating for you because artists are absolute validation junkies. We all know it. So
literally,
the fact that people said this album came to my life in the best fucking moment, that feels just really nice and raw.
Yeah.
It's got to feel really good. Or saying thank you for existing and creating this music was a comment I read, where
people have been so nice.
You became a part of somebody's life probably for them to make that statement, right? They're taking your music with you, or you wouldn't say it that way.
It's crazy.
Which is pretty great. I'm wondering how you feel about these two type of comments, which I always find funny. When people say, this is freaking excellent, you're going to make it big. I'm so glad you popped into my feed last month. And they say, these artists you find before they majorly blow up and you feel a sense of pride for being there before. Begonia is one of those artists. She's one of those artists that has the talent to be a big name in the music one day. So I'll happily be able to say, I watched it when it happened. Those are the backhand compliment ones, right? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
I know. And I'm like, oh,
when you're big, Begonia, when you're big, it's going to be awesome.
So you're still going to feel cool about this though, if I say exactly the same, right?
Yeah,
like if I'm exactly at the same level, because I have to be cool with that. So I hope they're cool with that.
And I don't want to take away. They're being
literally 100%
so kind, sincere and kind,
so kind. And I've had people sometimes also just like want to say something and don't always know exactly what to say. So then, but I read that as kindness. I read that as if I'm being like the shadow version of myself, as my therapist would say. Then I would read that. Thank you. Then I would read that as like, well, I guess I'm never going to fucking make it. I'm disappointing everyone. But that's not how I decide to read that. No, people,
that's great.
I have had trolls in my life, but almost all of the YouTube comments that I've gotten on the videos that I've been posting have been so overwhelmingly kind. Surprised. Like I'm surprised.
It's because remarkable.
It hits some algorithm where people are just happy to be nice. And I'm like, oh, I love that.
I found the best one. I found the absolute best comment.
Okay.
Thank you for everyone who supports my auntie. This is my auntie and I love her.
Oh my gosh. My niece FaceTimes me. When she put that comment out and it started getting likes, she would FaceTime me every night and be like, Auntie Alexa, there's 400 likes on my comment. Like she was flipping the fuck out because she sends me videos as if I'm her YouTube audience because her mom doesn't let her have her own YouTube channel, which I think is very good for her at this point in her life.
Good call.
So she'll be like, hey guys, she's doing a makeup tutorial. Like she'll send me shit. So now that this is on public YouTube, she's like freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I love it.
That's so fun. That's so fun.
She's so cute.
Yeah, that's adorable. That's like the best comment I read out of all of them. But it is a lot of fun. I love the fact that you own the stylistic part of your career. And now to find out that that's a endeavor with your partner, which is even more cool. I think I love just when I see people owning every part of their career and their persona, because we end up building one. And you obviously made that kind of choice early, which is just followed a really cool trajectory. And I love the new record. I've already told you that a whole bunch of times, but
thank you.
I'm really curious to see like what happens more with it. I hope I hear more of it on my local station. And now I know that I need to like put this shirt away and kind of preserve it. If it's a one of a kind. I love that shirt. Brilliant.
It is one of a kind. Brilliant. I love it.
I don't even wear white shirts. I have two and this is one of them. This is it. So
I'm honored.
It's pretty great. But I really appreciate your time, Begonia, and coming in and talking just about your career
and how you
Thank you,
got
Glen.
to where you are, and talking about the album, and can't wait to promote it and push it and see all the good things that happen for you, and hopefully catch a show on the other
Thank
side of
you.
your European tour. So
Literally. And
Okay.
in a year from now, we'll talk and see what happens.
that
See
would be
what has
fantastic.
happened.
I would love it. Okay, I appreciate you. All
Thank
the
you.
best.
Appreciate you too. Thank you
Okay,
for your
you bet.
thoughtfulness.
Bye.
Hey, I'm Alexi. Stick around for post fame with me and my dad. It's already started.
It's already started. Okay. I feel a little something in my nose, so I'm going to
You sound
try
like you
to-
have a little something.
I
in your
know, so I'm
nose.
going to try to bring the energy so it's not so bad.
That was me last week. This light is
Okay, not about the light again.
okay. Sorry, no, it's
Let's
fine.
we'll just move on from the light. Hi.
Hi.
Your energy sounds lower than mine.
Okay.
What's the problem?
None?
You're usually the one that brings the pizzazz to post fame.
That's because I'm awesome. I'm in final season now officially as of today.
Yeah.
So you know what? Allow it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this did you make notes?
I thought you were gonna say, "Did you listen?" I was like, "No, I
Would
did
that
listen."
be offensive if I
Yeah, I would be a little bit hurt.
Okay.
I actually, you know what? That's funny because I was thinking about the episode today, and I was like, "You never ask if I have notes." I was bringing it up, and I don't for the first time, and I was like, "Ah, he doesn't ask."
I asked and you don't have notes? Is
Don't
that
have
what you're
notes.
telling me?
Well, listen, no, I have mental notes. I just don't have like my usual
Oh.
notes.
So
I
we have
one big-
we have unreliable reference notes is what you're saying?
I just didn't quote this time, but I have one big mental note. It's one bullet point. It's
Okay.
yeah. Do you want to
Okay.
hear it, or do you have something to say first?
I don't have something to say about that right off the bat. I was just thinking about some of the things I was going to say afterwards, but
Yeah.
so
Well, first of all, love this episode.
you did?
I did. And you know what? I'm always not skeptical, that's not the right word, but I just don't have like expectations.
You
Here,
don't expect
this
to
is-
love it?
No. Let
That's
me
what you just
rephrase
said.
this. No. Let me
Too
rephrase
late.
this. When it's someone I already know, get out of here. When it's someone I already know, I go in with good expectations because I know
Okay.
them. When it's not somebody I know, I don't go in with good expectations. Not to say I don't go.
You
like,
mean you just go in with
I just
none,
go in. Yeah.
like impartial.
Yeah. And so I went impartial, and I never know how that's going to go. But I quite liked it.
Yeah, you weren't familiar with Begonia beforehand,
No.
correct? At all?
And that's my thing. Usually the people you have, if I don't know them on like some kind of a personal level through you, I've usually heard about them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Hadn't.
But love.
Yeah, I thought
And she speaks so well. Like,
she really
I
does.
was listening like to it, and I was like, I forgot it was like your podcast for a second when I was listening to it on the train, because she just has a way of speaking that, first of all, her voice sounds lovely, like her speaking voice.
Yes.
Like, what a gift. But the way she speaks, I'm like, I could listen to her talk about nonsense and I would be content.
She should have a podcast. is what
She
you're
should have a
saying.
podcast. This is true.
Maybe she'll consider it. You know what one of my favorite parts was? Near the end when we were joking around about something and she's like, well, then I'll just come back in a year and we'll circle back to it. And I'm like, that's the first guest who was like,
Let me back on.
I'll come back on and be a guest again or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It just kind of like tickled me pink there. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of a nice thing. She was extremely pleasant.
Yes.
And which is awesome because obviously I've seen her play. Like I've seen her live. I've like listened to her music on and off. There's just, I'm trying to think of the way I want to put this, but there's this certain, I guess I was feeling, there hasn't been many of these where I go into it feeling like an actual like interviewer in the media, like I'm preparing for somebody that I haven't met or have any familiarity or background, and they're used to doing these things in a publicity cycle in a
very media trained way.
Yeah, media trained way. And so I arranged all this through like Ken, my old publicist, sorry. So those things were in my head
Yeah.
a little bit. And then as soon as we start talking, I just know that I did the thing that I always do, which is try to be a bit disarming for people, right? So they'll feel like they'll lose maybe some of that pretense of like media training. And I could just tell right away, like she was like looking for that too, to just be able to talk. Oh, the other part that I really love then related to that is when she was talking about kind of where she is at personally and how she said she was looking forward to doing the podcast because she wanted to talk about music and just not think about
I know she was in a funk. Yeah,
the business and the blah, blah, blah of it all, and just wanted to like feel inspired again by talking about what she loves about music and stuff. So I was like, I guess right off the bat in my mind, I'm like, I really hope that it does that for her.
Right?
Because that would be
also the
really
first
awesome.
time someone's been like, hey, I've been really excited about this.
Yeah.
For a reason that's not like, hey, you're an old friend. Like, I've been excited. Like, it's like a, hey.
Well, let's
like,
be honest. It's like, hey, I even thought about this, prior to 20
Jumping
minutes
on,
before
yeah.
I realized I had to jump on. No, I mean, that's a little self-deprecating. But it was nice. I like what you said. I enjoyed, she had a really nice voice, a really great demeanor and personality, obviously, that made it really easy. And it made it like just a fun conversation.
Fun listen.
And felt like the kind of thing that maybe I always hope for, which is like, would that be what it feel like if like her and I went to meet at the pub over a drink and then like just dig in and find out each other's background or that kind of a feel. Anyhow, those kinds of things feel good. I felt like I liked so many of the things that she had to just say about her career and the things that she learned. And, I always the interest to me is the same thing I assume a lot of people who listen will be, is that even if they knew who she was a little or none, there's a sense going in like this person's relatively new, right? Like, because they obviously haven't hit the big mainstream, but then you find out like they've been doing this, since 2005 or 6 or something, like right out of high school. So they've been doing it their whole life. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Do you want to hear my point? Because it ties in really nice.
Need to be able to edit that. Yes.
Yeah, no, I think it ties in really nice because I think, so my note was, and
Your mental note?
My mental note.
Okay.
Was, and I'll have to censor this because
Censor?
Well,
like,
listen.
I'm going to have to edit it?
No, I'll just not say the word.
I'm your dad. Don't say the
That's what
bad
I'm saying.
words.
I was like, it has the F word and I've never said that to you.
Why would you do that?
Listen, because I'm just a girl. But I love her, like, I don't give a bleep energy. Just like, and like way about herself. Of like she just like openly was like, yeah, I'm not like trying to be perfect for anyone. Like I'm not striving for perfection. And just like, but it's like some people say that and then the way they like curate themselves and carry themselves in person and online, it's like, well, you say that, but like I think, you're still getting influenced and, like people say it, but it's because they want to be perceived that way. Yes.
Which ironically is the antithesis of what they're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. But it was, I think it's a very rare thing, but she was like, I don't give an F. Like, I'm not trying to be perfect.
And you already knew that before she said it.
You already knew that before she said it. And when she was like, I'm not trying to be perfect, like, I'm just like, basically really enjoying what she's doing and trying to, do things that she loves and feels good in and about. And I'm like, I think, like, it's unsaid. Like, and the way she speaks and carries herself. And I think that's why she speaks so well and her energy's just, like, so delightful.
Yeah.
Because her mind isn't being occupied by trying to come off in this, like, perfect or whatever you want to call it way. And I'm like, there's something so, like, admirable about that. And also just, like you just have to respect it. Especially, like, being a woman in the industry. Like, you don't hear that often. And I'm like, it's refreshing to hear it and feel it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I also liked because she's so creative and her like videos are flamboyant and some of them are really, really well thought out and executed. And her persona that she adopts that goes with like her like fashion style that she chooses, which kind of morphs album to album. And all of that is like self-conceived and self-developed. Like she said, her and her partner are basically the ones who put all that stuff together. I just love that sort of indie ownership still. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of people give that away. Like we interviewed Shayla and she's the same way, right? She puts this real effort into like her outfits and she thinks it's, you know, super awesome. And I love that when people really kind of
care.
Care and more about just the music, but recognizing that, you know, this whole thing is bigger than just whether or not, you know, it's some good songs or not. They just want to be the whole package. So I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me too. Actually, on the topic of indie ownership, do you want to hear something, a very quick, cool thing?
Okay.
So Mac DeMarco, his concert's in a couple weeks now.
Edmonton-born.
Okay. Edmonton show. Anyways, his whole thing is kind of like little indie ownership, right? Like he has had so many offers for like producers and like all of that, all the labels, like everything. He's still very just like, he does everything himself, right? Like he, through like producing music, has kind of created his own like label in a sense. Like he makes everything himself, produces it himself, publishes it himself. Yeah. Everything. Anyways, but because of that, he has total control and artistic freedom. And he has been on tour, hence why he's coming in a few weeks. And when he was in Europe, he just like was giving out CDs to the audience, and they were just called like Unlabeled Album. And it's the album he's putting out soon. Really? And he just didn't label it, didn't label the songs, just like put all of the songs, but no vocals, just all of the songs played in a row on a CD and just gave it out unlabeled during his thing. And then like spoke about it like way later in an interview, but just like for fun, and did the artwork on it. Like, and I'm like, I love that. Like that's indie ownership to me. To
that's
like
very
the extreme.
Indie. That's very indie for sure. I liked like even similarly last week when we were talking to Tyson and he was talking about the kids these days, like putting on the shows, and he said like a lot of them are like making cassettes and making things and making stuff that doesn't have to be on Spotify, right? It's like that they just circulate around where they play and just kind of build that. Anyhow, like I love that still finds its way out. And then, you know, indie is essentially like a mainstream category. It feels like most of the time, except when you encounter what we're talking about now that actually truly are the concept of like, I'll do it my own way and I'll do it myself. I guess that's DIY, but that's just kind of bleeds over into the whole thing, which I like, which is what I've always been attracted to in the business.
And been doing.
Yeah, well, fun for you to go to Mac DeMarco.
Well, maybe.
Hopefully. I know. I don't know why you're doing this. We keep talking. Don't flip-flop.
I won't.
Flip.
I'm going.
But I mean, that's a very important exam the next day.
I know.
But
40%.
Yeah, so I think, I can't remember right now. I think it was episode 2, maybe 3, Hotel Mira. They're on tour. We had talked about it way back when I recorded with him in July. We released it in August. And he talked about when he was going to come back around through Canada after all this touring. And he wasn't really able to talk about it until right then because, or he said when I release it because after summer festival season. And so they're going to be coming back through now in the next week on their Canadian leg. So I just think anybody who's listening in Canada should look for Hotel Mira because they put on an incredible show. They're in Edmonton on December 11th. But I think people should look for that. Somebody who I hope to maybe get on the show in the future that we loved at Folkfest was Juliana Riolino. She just came through Edmonton, but she's heading through on some tours, which will be awesome. People should check out. Another live show, which is kind of cool, is a band that was really big in the very early like 90s indie breakout in Canada, was a band called PUP, P-U-P. And they're out playing again, and they're on this little tour.
Oh, that's what you were talking about,
I think some people would think is pretty cool, so I thought I'd pitch that one out because live music is where it's at. I was reading a whole thing after Tyson last episode talked about like the AI stuff coming in. He was talking about it in his context, but I read a thing yesterday morning about like Spotify signing deals with these AI music production houses. And one of the things people most concerned of is AI being able to, the way AI, like for example, the way AI works right now, right, is it models itself after information that you put out there. In a sense, it's stealing everything we've done to put together the information it needs to make a better and complete version, which we love because it's giving us complete answers, and that's all we're using it for, most of us. But it's basically training itself off of our content. And AI music makers are going to train itself off of all of our music that's out there on Spotify.
Yeah, not awesome.
And to me, I'm like, well, I'll still want to know if an artist is real and if they're going to be on tour and can I go see them. So I think one way to, screw that system and stay connected is to go to live shows music. And make that your kind of source.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I just was thinking about that, and then I thought I'd share shows that I knew were happening going across Canada that people should really see because I think they're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
We love that.
Yeah. Anyhow, I'm really happy with the Begonia episode and that it worked out. And
that is so awesome.
I've been listening to her record a lot since Fantasy Life. And I love when that happens too, because I feel like I'm a bigger fan now.
Yeah.
And I'm like playing her music at work for other people and the way it should happen. So
I just saw her in the CD store actually yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah. I bought a CD and it was in the B section, and then I was looking around
B
for it.
Begonia?
Yeah, and then I was like, oh my goodness, look who it is.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, what a perfect bow tie on Post Fame. Thank you.
See you next time.
Okay, bye. Love you.
Bye.